Keir Starmer has faced furious backlash after it was revealed he is plotting an outdoor smoking ban that is set to see Brits barred from lighting up in pub gardens, near football grounds, and even outside nightclubs. Pavements by universities and hospitals are also expected to be smoke-free zones, with shisha bars facing the axe as the new Labour government bears down on cigarettes in shock new plans. The shock move has sparked fury towards Starmer's party, with criticism of nanny state politics and memos from the business department already warning the hospitality sector could be hit. And the secret Whitehall report, which was leaked to The Sun, has been blasted by opposition MPs who have warned it could sound the death knell of Britain's losers. Slamming the move, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage raged, "It will be the end of pubs." It comes under a bill that was first introduced by Rishi Sunak, which was a plan to phase out all smoking, but the King's speech made no mention of an outdoor ban. Brits will still be allowed to smoke in their own homes in large open spaces like streets and parks. But other locations are said to be gray areas and still under discussion, including beaches and enclosed, popular parks. The report also mentions vape-free zones, although it is unclear whether the ban could also include e-cigarettes. Tory leadership hopeful Robert Jenrick added, "The last thing this country needs is thousands more pubs closing. Our country faces huge challenges. Why is Starmer focusing on this nonsense?" And fellow contender Priti Patel, a former tobacco lobbyist, slammed policies she branded beyond stupid. She said, "Imposing nanny state regulation like this on pubs and restaurants would not only be wrong but economically damaging. These are small businesses run by hardworking people that provide jobs up and down the country. Labor is devoid of ideas and has no economic plan, and is now reduced to nanny state policies to pacify their socialist base and take freedoms and choices away from the British people. Asking the police to enforce this at a time when Starmer is releasing dangerous criminals onto our streets is beyond stupid. It borders on the negligent. This needs to be reversed immediately before it endangers both our retail sector and the safety of our streets." A recent impact assessment has even found that banning smoking outdoors could cost jobs and force even more pubs to close, the tabloid reports. It could spell the end of the shisha bar industry in the UK, which held more than 500 national locations in 2022. And the policy could leave devastation in its wake for the hospitality industry, with a 2020 government release explicitly warning that banning cigarettes in pub gardens could lead to significant closures and job losses. But amid rising fears as to the effects cigarettes could have on the nation's health, it is reported that the Prime Minister is set to press forward with the bill. He is said to have the backing of Chief Medical Officer Professor Chris Whitty, while ministers will argue that the economic benefits outweigh its potential costs. Ministers are expected to claim smoking costs £21.8 billion in health spending. The original ban on indoor smoking, introduced across the UK by Tony Blair in 2007, was blamed by some for leading to the closure of pubs, particularly smaller ones that could not adapt. It follows more recent anti-smoking measures, such as a ban on menthol cigarettes in 2020 and outlawing smoking in cars with children in 2015. A public consultation will be launched over the ban, but this is not expected to sway the radical plans. It is unclear how far away from a location, such as a pub or restaurant, a smoker would have to walk before they could legally light up. As many as 6.4 million people smoke in the UK, 13% of the country's population. The country has a target of becoming smoke-free by 2030, where only 5% of the nation would have cigarettes. Labour will easily be able to get the ban through Parliament given its huge majority. No Labour MPs voted against the Tories' anti-smoking legislation in April. It was opposed by 58 Conservatives, including current leadership contenders Kemi Badenoch and Robert Jenrick. However, many of the rebels, including ex-PM Liz Truss, are no longer in Parliament, further diminishing the likelihood of opposition to the revised legislation. It comes just months after the House of Commons overwhelmingly approved the second reading of the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, inching the government closer to enforcing in law that anyone born after January 1, 2009 would never be able to legally buy cigarettes. If eventually passed, it would have meant that the age at which people can purchase cigarettes will be raised by 1 year annually.